see you there. I'll be honest with you, I don't know what's more embarrassing, playing broom air guitar or the fact that I actually made a guitar strap for my broom air guitar. Today it is time to jump in and get this transmission cleaned up. I've been avoiding this for months. It's going to be disgusting, but whatever. We're here and let's get at her. Okay, well first up I'm just going to dump a little of this on there and start scrubbing and just get a rough idea of sort of what I got ahead of me here. Oh boy. Yeah, I don't think that's making a big difference. Alright, well now I'm going to do what I should have done right from the beginning. You may remember when I pulled the transfer case and transmission, the frame was already on the ground, so I actually couldn't really drain it at the time. I probably should have just did it. I figured, you know, I'll just keep all the lines and the two coolers together, but you know what? Enough's enough. Time to get serious about this thing, so gonna lift her up and drain it. Just as soon as I click the winch into gear. Ooh, I don't like that. Okay, well surprisingly, this thing hangs very well just by hooking a cable around the sort of bell housing area there. Just made sure not to pinch any lines. I'm going to go through and do a few things. I just drained it, so now I'm going to pull the dipstick tube out. I will pull out the torque converter. I've already removed most of the linkage over here, but the hard lines, I'm going to probably try and find a new solution to that. So that one right there, this is the original style. These are the ones that went into the transmission heat exchanger as well, and I had a couple of failures with those that made the unit kind of spill its guts and leave ATF all over the place. So I am hoping to find a permanent solution. I don't really know what that's going to be, if it's some of that steel braided Earls type hose going to all the different units or something, but I'm hoping to do away with this little click-on connector here. This has always made me very nervous, because if I'm out in the bush or doing something and that thing decides to pop out of there, the truck cannot be driven because all the ATF just drains all over the place. So I'm going to remove all this stuff now. I'll probably pull out, I think that's the neutral safety switch there, and then there's the 8-pin connector up there for the valve body. So I'll probably remove those as well, and then just kind of get this down to a bare case, and then I'll stand it up on the bell housing so I can kind of access everywhere, and I'll just kind of leave it like that to paint it too. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Alright, so first up I'm going to pull this dipstick tube out of here. As I mentioned in that transmission review video that I put out recently, this has been a real problem. When I first rebuilt the transmission, I put this all together and it started leaking profusely out of here. So I pulled it out, put in a new O-ring, and it was fine for probably about a year, but this summer when I was driving it and kind of in the fall, it started leaking again. So there's a couple of solutions to this. I think there's like a boot that you can put in there, and possibly just getting a new dipstick tube. I'm not sure, but this is something that I definitely need to sort out. All right, now we'll pull this torque converter out of here. These things are surprisingly heavy. Let's see how well this goes. I should probably set this back down actually before I do that. Okay, here we go. Man, these things are heavy. I also should mention the torque converter. I just wrapped a rag around it and taped it up, so that's good and protected. All these things will be taped up and looked after too. Now I'm going to transfer this thing over onto there so I can stand it up and clean the rest of it. Alright, and there we go. We can see that big old power-driven diesel tranny pan. All the underside of the super dirty stuff is now very accessible. All right, well, one thing I've been doing, I got this little nylon bristle brush that just clicks right into this little impact here. And I just kind of dip it in the xylene, whatever this juice is, and spread it around on here a bit and let it sit and go over it a few times and then blow it off with compressed air, and it has actually been working really well. Some heavier deposits I'll go in and scrape a little bit, but all in all, this has been working very well. Kind of get it everywhere, let it sit a little bit. So as you can see, I've got it all masked up. Probably a more efficient use of tape to mask this pan, but I didn't have any paper, so good enough. Got some rags and stuff stuffed in the tranny dipstick tube hole, but as you can see, I mean, it came out pretty darn good. I've gone over it a bunch with wax and grease remover and all that, so I mean, I feel pretty good about paint sticking to it. So now I'm going to go ahead and do 3 coats of primer, 3 coats of paint, and then away we go. All right, so along with the transfer case, I'm kind of going at this with a similar mindset. You know, it's tough to get this stuff perfectly clean. I'm doing a pretty solid job. I feel like it's been degreased thoroughly and I did my best. It is definitely not perfect, but again, this isn't something that's gonna get rusty. This truck will be off-road all the time. Not crazy hardcore rock crawling, but there's gonna be bits of sand and gravel and crap caked onto this thing. Anyways, I'm gonna start putting down a coat of primer. I'll do 3 coats of primer, 3 coats of paint, and then be done with it and move on to the next thing.
Calibrating my ways to make it work. Old dog, new tricks puts me in first. I keep my mind open like a window in the heat. If pride's got you caught, then you're living in defeat. Cause what'll matter most when you're sitting with death will be what you gave when you still had breath.
Over there, I'm a big go, but where they don't go, cause they don't know, but they don't go. But where they don't go, cause they don't know if they don't go. The horizon, the horizon, the horizon, the horizon. Over there, I'm a big go, but where they don't go, cause they don't know if they don't go.
All right, well, looks great. Love the color. I'm gonna go with the same stuff on the engine. It's just slightly different than what I put on the transfer case, but they both actually, I would say, are a bit on the orange side. So anyways, good to go for today. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.